All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shabbat, Shawakakodash. I want to give double honor to the apostle, the GMS that ruleth well. And peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect out there. This is Chicago Rob from GMS, Virginia. And this is just a little history on America. So, when they talking about the founding fathers, make America great again. And this history in reality, the so-called white man's history is, his wealth, his gains, his ability to be over our people. Let me get that real quick. I've seen servants upon horses. So Ecclesiastes 10:7. I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. Now here it is. Esau was never created to be great. He was created to be the wicked. And unfortunately, he's the what is it, the base man? Let me see if I can find that too. The base man, the most vile creature, he's in power and rulership, which ultimately goes into, the blessing he was going to receive into prophecy. But you get the point. These Edomites are ruling, and they have a dark history, which they're trying to sweep away. What's that? Let me see if I can find that image. Yeah, here it is. That main image comes up. There you have it. Edomite, Southern Kingdom, and Northern Kingdom. Theodore Roosevelt. Let me see that. Theodore. Yep, there you go. Theodore Roosevelt. Your 26th U.S. president. See how they have you? You walking, he's on that horse. That's why the scripture always talks about woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. This devil. This is his history, man. This nigga. Equality is never for your benefit. Never was for you, Jake. So-called Negro Latino and Hispanic Native American. I'm trying to see if I still have that article up. But let me see, egalitarianism. So let me see. Hold on. So egalitarianism is a school of thought within political philosophy, because Esau, he has his own little way and method of philosophy. That's what you see the forefathers. They always go back into this Edomite that had glasses on with a pencil, and he wrote and writ this, and so and I believe this, if I'm not mistaken, this goes back to the Greek Empire. Yep, the Greek Empire, equalitarianism or egalitarianism, because when you go back to the Greek Empire, this is the whole mindset of Antioch. Everybody that come underneath the disguise, this all being one. While the Hellenization was on top, because the Greek Empire was was the empire at that time. Then going into the Roman Empire, and then this empire that we're in now, the branch, the offshoot of Rome. So let me hold on. Kind of all over the place. Hold on, Slaki, bear with me. You see the base, man. Let me see if I can find that. Yep. So Job 30:8. They were children of fools, yet children of base men. They were viler than the earth. But the thing about it, Esau wants you to think he's the most enlightened. He's the creature that knows it all. So he gives you all sorts of philosophies and ways on. And let me get that real quick. Colossians 2:8. Because this is how this man spoils our people through much of it. Colossians 2:8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of this world and the image of this beast. So everything that Esau promotes you is to forward you into this society, and not after Yahweh Shah. Because when you're with Yahweh Shah and follow Yahweh Shah, this is not of his kingdom. This is not of his. He has no dwelling in this place. When he comes back, he's going to destroy America. So let me get the hell up out of this. So this again is going back. It's a little history of America, because they, the minorities and how you say it. Damn it. Here we go. The minorities and the people of color and blacks and Hispanics, Latinos. We're so concerned for them. But this is a little brief history. Biography of George Washington. I believe this is the first so-called president of America. So George Washington, I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can go back, read it for yourself. Mount Vernon, George Washington. I believe, I don't know. I'm not the best technical computer savvy person, but put in George Washington, Mount Vernon, it should come up. But first American president, commander of the Continental Army, president, and this nigga's from Virginia, of the Constitutional Convention, and farmer. Through these roles, Washington exemplified character and leadership. So this, this is the history they don't tell you, So when these Edomites have, these so-called white people tell you they had nothing to do with slavery and it wasn't me. Well, you reap the benefits, and that you're even worse than them, because now due to your nonchalant and your pride, you don't even regard the fact that your this is what your forefathers did, and it's so bad, because Jake react, they demonize Jake. And here it is. This is our history. This is our history. So, I don't give a damn what nobody say. That shit don't make sense. How you bringing other people over and you conquering other people, and these people are supposed to love you or have any dealings with you, and we're supposed to really just literally listen to you and make any agreements with you and think you're our friends? It doesn't make sense. So George Washington was born at his family plantation on Pope's Creek in Westmoreland County, Virginia, on February 22, 1732, to Augustine and Mary Ball Washington. George's father was a leading planter in the area and served as a justice of the county court. Augustine, Washington's first wife, Jane Butler, died in 1729, leaving him with two sons. I'm just going to jump down. Ferry Farm. I just want to get to the point that Washington had slaves. Around 1734, the family moved up to Potomac River to another Washington property, Little Hunting Creek Plantation, later renamed Mount Vernon. In 1738, they moved again to Ferry Farm, a plantation on the Rappahannock River near Fredericksburg, Virginia, where George spent much of his youth. Little is known about George Washington's childhood and remains the most poorly understood part of his life. When he was 11 years old, his father, Augustine, died, leaving most of his property to George's adult half-brothers. And let me see. This is what I wanted. So, this is the list of enslaved people at Mount Vernon by George Washington. Like most elite Americans, you hear that? Elite. So the reason why America became great, the reason why these Edomites have money, banks, etc., because they had slaves. So Jake, when they tell you, you got to work hard. you become a rapper or basketball player, and you got to go to that little back room where they have Edomites with masks, and they ready to pummel you, or doing whatever. You had to sacrifice your child, or etc. There's many things out there. This world is wicked as hell. When they tell you got to get straight A's and don't be angry, don't be mad, it was just the past. We're different now. Ain't nothing different. It's even worse. Because now they can rub that shit in your face. They can, what do you say? It was that fucking rap battle. He said, I could throw it up, toss it up, slam it in your face. But it says the vast network of 18th century transatlantic. Salaki. The Washingtons were deeply entangled in a global commercial system that revolved around slavery. The vast network of 18th century transatlantic trade involved the flow of manufactured goods from Europe, enslaved people from Africa, and raw materials from the Americas. The economy and social structure of Washington's native Virginia depended on the labor of enslaved Africans, which were Israelites, and their descendants to cultivate cash crops like tobacco. Slavery was an integral part of Washington's life from an early age. At age 11, he inherited 10 enslaved people from his father. So this nigga had slaves at the age of 11. Jake, where your slaves at? You don't get Edomites as slaves. So it says he inherited 10 enslaved people from his father. He will go on to inherit, purchase, rent, and gain control of more than 500 enslaved people at Mount Vernon and his other properties by the end of his life. Let me see something. I'm not going to read this. I'm just going to read this point. Oh, they got a French in there. Yeah, slavery. So going back. When he was married widow Martha Dandridge Custis in 1759, she brought 84 enslaved people to Mount Vernon as part of her dower share of her first husband's estate. So there you go. Jake, you were just it was given to the wife. You were cattle, and you still are cattle. So you Jakes, you still think this society is for you. You still think, these Edomites love you. All you do, you just moved around, you're used and abused, and you're tossed away, and you die. That's why at the end of the day, the whole, Esau maximizes gain from our wickedness and our stupidity. And the thing about it is, that's why they set up so much traps out here for you Jakes, because they all know, we're consumers, we're great consumers, because going back to the curses, we're underneath this nigga, so we go to him for the one of all things. But the thing about it, Esau sets up so many traps, so much ways to kill us and destroy us. Murder us and destroy us and destroy our mental state, and he capitalizes off of it. So again, the food we eat in fucked up state, cigarettes, weed, drugging, crime, wickedness, fashion, everything, Jake. They capitalize off of it. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, everywhere you turn, whatever Jacob does in the society, they, you how you say, you're cultivating Esau's kingdom. That's why mainly, Shalaki, that's why really, we supposed to be yearning to get the hell up out of here, that this place be destroyed. So everything we do in this society, it does good for the hands of Esau, except, doing these lessons. Because this is something that they don't want you to know about. They want you to think everything is sweet, cool, you know, you don't never got to think about war. You don't ever really got to look at this devil as your enemy. This is common knowledge. Prior to, the 70s and the 60s and the 50s and the 40s and the 30s, our people knew this white man was a goddamn devil. But after the 1960s and the 70s, after the crack and, after the drug epidemic, prison systems and the welfare, Section 8, niggas forgot because women, that's when they switched up the whole narrate and gave women power, our women power, and the matriarchy began. And our mothers not wanting us to know, tell us the truth about really what's going on in the society, and our fathers being broken mentally. Basically, this history of what Esau did to us was pretty much swiped underneath the rug through our parents. Our parents wanted us to get a so-called good education, and it's funny as hell because when you look at Dragon Ball Z, you look at Goku's woman Chi Chi. Here it is. I watched the beginning of Dragon Ball Z again, and I think it was Raditz Raditz. He looked at Gohan. He saw the tail. He already said, "Yo, your son has Saiyan blood in him," and nobody knew because really, Goku pretty hit his head or something, lost who he was, forgot who he was. So pretty much he was just trying to raise up his son as a regular Gohan, just do the right thing. And when what she said, Chi Chi, she wanted Gohan to have a goddamn education. She wanted him to go to school, get good grades. I'm like, yo, what the hell? This dude is a fighter. And that's what women, that's a lot of what happened to our mothers, man. They were overraged, broken mentally. They don't want nothing to happen to the kids. Overly nurturing, overly protective. And that's going back to Willie Lynch. And what happened was all our parents wanted us to get money, live in a society. They don't want them being beaten. Because again, that's what they did. They beat up Jake, the men of our nation. They humiliated them, made them turn out to look like an enemy, and reverse the roles and reverse the psyche of our mothers. All our mothers did was just teach us, get some education and go to school and be a good boy. So massa won't beat us. But by 1799, the number of dower slaves at Mount Vernon had grown to 153 through natural increase, that children inherited the status of their mother. Washington views on slavery change over time. Economic and moral concerns led him to question slavery after the Revolutionary War. Though he never lobbied publicly for abolition, unable to extricate himself from slavery during his lifetime, Washington chose to free the 123 enslaved people he owned outright in his will. But, whatever. Certain things, another thing too, when certain people read certain things about, Edomites having how you say, what's the term? A change of heart. They say, oh, you see all white people. Nah. See, in these times of 17 to 16, 15, 1400, those critical times, prophecy, if Yahweh Bashar Yahweh didn't, set up certain things, bend and turn certain things, through his will, we wouldn't be here prophesying today. So you had certain Edomites that you had to change your heart, maybe read a little Christian verse and got a little soft-hearted, and they say, well, I'm gonna let go some slaves. I don't such and such, but it wasn't. That don't make them a good Edomite. That doesn't mean they're going to be saved. Again, prophecy had to be fulfilled. So certain things had to be, cut, let loose, and so we can make it to this day, so the prophets can wake up and preach last. But that's it. These presidents of ours, so-called presidents, founding forefathers, I think this nigga's facing on Mount Rushmore. Let me see Mount Rushmore. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that's George Washington right there. The nigga had slaves. I think that's Thomas Jefferson. No, not Thomas Jefferson. Fucking I think Thomas Jefferson on the right. I forgot the dude's name. The second one. But they all had slaves, man. They all had slaves. But with that, hey, say shalom.